I am DEE. I did I did 3 albums under the name of DEE. Before that, it was the Urbanots, and one of my big breaks as DEE came for a commercial, which launched the whole thing of me doing commercials. And it was for a car. It was like when Ford put out the Ford Edge, and this one guy calls me up and says, hey, there's a commercial I need you to work on. I can't tell you what it is because they can never tell you what it is. And I said, well, just give me a hint, you know, just give me something so I can, because they wanted lyrics, they wanted some indie band to do it. And he goes, all I can say is that the car is called The Edge. I can't tell you what company, I can't tell you anything. And I'm like, no way, you're shitting me. So I turn around, push play.
I like to live on the edge.
And he's like, really? It's already done? It's like, yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. So I sent it, and then it took about like maybe 4 months of back and forth, and then it actually landed the job, and then it ended up playing at the Super Bowl, so it paid for all my appliances and the student loan and everything. And so it was a really big deal for me. Got me to tour in the States, got me to play in a whole bunch of places like Moscow and Toronto. I like the two, huh? Moscow and Toronto, nothing in between. But yeah, no, it was a great deal for me. And that was like about 2 years after school. And then the second, or I don't know which one came first, but the other one, which was also a great introduction to the commercial industry, was this guy calls me up from La Majeure, and he goes, we're doing a thing for Bel Air Direct, which is like an insurance company. And he says we're in the process of going from just telephoning to all internet. So we want something to keep the old clients. So we need something like with a banjo, you know, something to make it, you know, not too new, and keep, you know, just they wanted something rootsy. So he's like, do you have a banjo? And of course, I lied. Yeah, I got a banjo. Who doesn't? And then I asked him, like, when is this for? He's like, well, can you do it in an hour? I'm like, yeah, no problem. So I ran to the store and got the banjo. And I thought the banjo was like $200, and it was like $600, and I had $700 in my account. So my plan was to buy it and bring it back. So I went and I got the little banjo and did the little jingle in the appropriate amount of time, and it became the signature. And it still is. So that was like 19 or 18 years ago. And now it's not a banjo now, it's a keyboard, but it's like still there. So I kept the keyboard, I kept the banjo. You know, it's still there. It's off cam, which you can imagine. It's just a banjo. I'll get it right now. It's the same strings. So this is it, man, with this, you know, a banjo.
Bel Air Direct.
Ouais, Bel Air Direct. So yeah, so those were my 2 entries in the ad agencies and stuff like that. And obviously the one with Ford Edge it's like a one in a lifetime thing. But the other one was something I figured like I can do this all the time. You know, because it's in Montreal, it's not a long shot. You can actually work with these people, and then the people that hired me to do that eventually opened up Boogie, which became BLVD, which I still work for now. There you go, bam. A lot of music was placed in TV shows, especially HBO, which is super awesome for me, because it's you know, it's the best channel ever, almost. And they got played in Casino, 1-3 Hill, Joan of Arcadia, 6 Feet Under, yeah, Ugly Betty.
How does it work?
Well, it's called licensing and syncing. So basically, these people call a service, which at this time was called Position Music, which is still called Position Music, I think. And they had the masters of my albums, and then they were allowed to use them before they called me. Like, so if a channel called or a TV show called for a certain song that they needed, like in Grey's Anatomy per se, it was they were looking for a dancey song, and they just flip through the whole bunch of my albums and other people's, obviously, and then they send it to the TV producer, and then he chooses which one is best. So those that was fun. That was a lot of fun, and plus it's the royalties are great. But the thing is, they're tricky. These people, what they do is because they don't want you, like, obviously you're not going to give them 100% control of all your stuff. So what they do is they change the titles of the songs, so that when they place it, let's say, for example, in my case, there was this one song called "She's Expensive."
She's expensive.
And they rebranded it Money Girl. So when they would put it on a certain TV show, it would be called Money Girl. But the thing is like all the like stuff like the OC and, you know, TV shows like that are super important for music, and people look for them, but they can't find it because it's not the same title. So it was, you know, it was good and bad at the same time. But I don't think they do that anymore. They mostly try to have you write for them, and then like I wrote an album just for Position Music, which they're placing in different series, but it'd be, yeah, in retrospect, it was good and bad, you know. So now this new album, after being alone for a long time, which is, it's fun because you never disagree, but but you're always alone, you know. And this is the first time in a long time that I have a band. And when I say band, it's like a real band, you know, where we regardless of who does what, we split the 30-30-30, 33-33-33. And so there's no stress on, you know, some of them, one guy is better producer, the other one's better for writing, you know, like epic songs. I'm more of a poppy, dirty kind of guy, and it's a really good fusion of all those three people that make this this band, and it's called Patiently Awaiting the Meteorite. And I love it. The design is like it's a dinosaur with a can of Coke, just like waiting for the end of the world. But and that happened because I was working with them and on this other project, and I walked out the door, came back right in, and I mean, guys, are you guys having fun? Like, this is awesome. And then they said, yeah, this is great. We love working with you. It's like, we should not just work on ads together. We should start a band. So we did, and that was like 2 years ago. So we started a band, and now we're reaping the rewards, hopefully, of the album, which is done. Took 2 years in the making because we're always busy in different times. And so that should be, it's out on the 18th of May. And it's called Canyon Diablo. And it's actually a place where a meteorite landed. So, you know, there's links. We thought about it and everything. It's not random. Well, I had a whole bunch of songs already ready. And I tend to be a little, I'd say, how do you say, to not be, I tend to be happy a little too fast when I write a song. I'm like, this is good. It's like 3 chords. Like, I'm having fun. And they're like, maybe we should change this. So they brought the songs to a whole other level. And they had songs too. And I was like completely free for the lyrics and the melodies. So it worked out really well. And like I said, one of them is a great producer and like one of the best, I think, vocal directors I've ever worked with. So he like really pressed the lemon on me. Like some songs took like a week or 2, even more, to get the lyrics right and the interpretation right. And you know, I have very few regrets on the album, which is just rare. So and they're very different in the way that they work. They're much more meticulous than I am. And it was a constant fight, as in a good way, you know, to keep it fresh and emotional, and also to keep it like nice and tidy. So I think that's why we complete each other so well, because it's completely opposites of the creation level, and it's just it just blends really, really well together. And it could have crashed, you know, because we're that different, but it didn't because of maturity. And not on my part. Well, I sang, and I played the guitar on a few songs, and I played the guitar on almost all the songs. But then we hired these incredible guitar players that just took it to the other level. And some songs where we did just the vocal and the guitar at the same time. Well, we kept my guitar because it was meant to be that way, you know. We tried it other ways, like having the other guitars play, and then me singing on top, and it just killed the song. It just you know, it wasn't taking it somewhere better. It was just making it worse. And so we chose two of the songs that are just without a click. So I'm not tight at all. But it was for those songs. It was what worked best. Is just following the beat that just goes up, you know, and the chorus comes in and then goes down after, and it was so the people after had to follow my lead, I guess, which was like for them must have been really hard because they're all super tight. But so yeah, so I think the songs, some of them are complete, some of them just went from A to Z in a completely organic way. Some of them just we redid everything, and then we changed the key, and then went from like the relative minor to the major, and to change it up completely. And so there's not one way that we took this whole album. It took a different ways for every song. I think every song had a special path. Not to sound cheesy, but that's what it was. I mean, we had the time also to do it, and plus for us, it was a passion project because we own the studios, so we didn't have the pressure for time and stuff like that by like for money for being in the studio. So I think we just took. That's why it took so long. It took 2 years, but I think it was really worth it, really. But yeah, no, it was like a passion project. You don't have much of those, like, and then for us, all three of us, it was a win-win thing. Like everyone had a lot of fun, and I can't wait for Friday. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen. I feel it's gonna be a big tour. That's what I really hope. What's coming on next is we're gonna go. We're not gonna have a proper launch like in the old sense of like a launch. We're gonna take that money, instead of having like a one big party, we're gonna take that and then we're gonna push it slowly, like, because this is a first album and there's no branding already done to this band, so we have to make people aware that we exist, and I don't think that in this day and age you can do that in a heartbeat without having millions. So I think we'll take the time. I think we're gonna push this album for like a few years. You know, just like we're gonna take the model of Half Moon Run and just milk it for a long time. And so then after the first album, then you can do a second one and third one in a shorter amount of time. So that's the plan. We have a few dates that we were people that wanted to book us in for the Midem and Iceland and stuff like that. And then we figured that instead of just going and doing one, which makes no sense because you come back and if you actually paid to play, because you know, one show won't cover the cost of like the plane rides and everything. So I don't know what's gonna happen. Like secretly, not secretly, because I'm voicing it out loud, but I really want to go and do like a 60-date thing. That's what I really want to happen. Like I think it could be festival material, even if a lot of the songs are slower, but I think it could work out. It might not be this summer because the summer's already starting, but it might be next summer. There might be a tour in autumn. I don't know. There's not one particular concept. One of the concepts is actually gear oriented. As in we consciously decided not to use any soft synths and stuff like that to have it, and use a lot of tape, because we're Pink Floyd fans and stuff like that, and we thought that it would be fresh for people to hear something that's more organic, in the sense that there's no auto-tune, there is in one song, but it's clearly there as an effect. And so we did a lot of reamping, we did a lot of, like I said, tape, and a lot of, one of the moves that we use on the album is the first move that got into Canada, and probably built by Bob himself, because Dominique and Sylvain's father was a keyboard player, and he was the first one to import it in Canada, and it still works fine. It's been, you know, it's been to the shop a few times, but it still works great. And we have a truckload of vintage gear, because we're old. Some of the stuff I bought when I was a kid, you know, and so that was their main focus. Our love for analog definitely was a driving force for the whole album. Yeah. Oh, obviously, what's warm to my heart, if we're talking gear, is the 808 and the 303, and the 909, and this little guy, it's a Vermona. It's like a drum machine from made in Germany, and because don't get me wrong, I love the 808 and the 909, but they're getting old. You know, they're not as tight as they used to be, and this guy is just so versatile. I mean, you can make any sound with it, and it's just very kick-ass. It's got this punchy sound, and you can really feel the analog working there, and it's and the Moog. Who cannot like a Moog? I mean,
you have what? You have this one, and you have
the two mothers. Yeah, I'm like a new age family. I got two mothers. But what I liked about the Moog is that because there's no effects on it, so when you make your sound, you don't realize that there's no reverb right away. You don't realize that there's no delay and stuff like that. So you build your sound, and it already sounds good. And then you put it through like an Eventide pedal, and then your mind just explodes. It just goes, oh my God, this is a crazy sound. So it's like, and it's got this, I don't know, it's got this, this soul to some to it. And I like the fact that you have to light it up like half an hour before you use it, because it doesn't like to be cold. You know, it doesn't sound as good, and it's true. It's not just in my mind. It does sound better after half an hour that it's been lit. So I just keep it on all the time, just in case, you know. And this is my new addiction. It's but I'm trying to tone it down because it's like crack. What I think crack would be like, because I would never do crack. And it's the modular system. You know, because it gets like you can build your own keyboard. It's like, you know, when you see like these keyboards have a certain path, like the oscillator goes into the filter, that goes into the envelope, that goes into this, and goes into that, and goes into that, and it's a fixed thing. And with these, you can do whatever you want. You know, it might sound like terrible, but it's still your own thing. And then it might sound really good, and then you forget what you did, and then you have to redo it again, but you can't. Those are all these all seem like things that they're bad, but it's actually good because it pushes you to make different sounds all the time, because there's no presets on these things. And I think it's something that lacks in the soft synths is the trial and error. That, you know, you can achieve much more errors than you can on a soft synth. And then I think that sometimes it's just, that's what happens. You're putting a wrong wire in, and it ends up being something ridiculously awesome. Who would have thought? And then that's the basis for your song. So it's that's what I love about it. And plus, you got to be careful not to blow them up, because if you put an out and an out, it can actually burn the system. That's why I like the phenol, which was my first attempt to. And the phenol is a little keyboard built in Toronto by Kilpatrick, and this guy thought of it. He's like, I'm gonna do something that cannot blow up. So you can put any wire anywhere, and worst comes to worst, it'll just sound bad, but you can't blow it up. So that was my first dabble with modular synths. And then I think a week after, I went to Moog, and the guy at Moog really likes me, because he can see money signs when I walk in. He's like, you gotta try this! And I always leave. Like, I go to buy strings and I come back with keyboards. For real. And he was also at school. He was also at Mystic. Cano. Yeah. See? Full circle. Like I said, the album's dropping on the 18th of May on everywhere. Everywhere. You can go on iTunes, on even Deezer, I think. You can even go on What are the other places there? Spotify, and you can go Google Play. Thank you. You can go everywhere. It'll be on all major platforms. And on YouTube, there's a few videos that are coming out. We actually filmed the first video, and then we thought it was too autumn-ish. And then, so we're gonna release that next autumn. So that's great. We're actually, for the first time in my life, in advance. We have like stuff that's coming out that's already done. It's just makes no sense to me, but I love it. So yeah. So on the 18th, man, we have it's patiently awaiting the meteorite. I mean, if you type that in, there's no other place that you'll end up in than our place. Such a long title. I mean, there's no two patiently awaiting the meteorite.com places. And on the website, there's like all the links to everything. It's probably written down here somewhere or there. You can do that, right?
Yeah.
I love Post.
Who do you come to when you've got nowhere else to go to?